it's all off right now, and you're not gonna hear anything, even though we got some sound going on here, but as soon as I get up here, it'll be louder, and then it's gonna kick off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so like you were saying, you know,
Yeah,
when you got,
during
when
the
you got a
debate.
whole bunch of people here, they're whispering to everybody, or backstage mic is another famous one for that, but yeah, they'll be back here, and they got the mic and they're nervous, and then all of a sudden, ladies and gentlemen, hello! And then the mic is on, and then they're back over here and quiet. So,
You have to
that's
have
the
a
idea.
performer with good mic technique.
Yeah, that's really key. And that's where the coaching comes in. So sometimes I'll spend a lot of time coaching the performers before we even start rolling with anything. And, you
Yeah.
know, but and that works really good for an amplifier that's hummy or buzzy or vintage, as the performers like to call it. You see that a lot with older tube amps and guitars, because there's always a little bit of hum and buzz in there. Sometimes keyboards do that if they've got even if they've got a crappy chord or something like that, you'll get a buzz or a little bit of a hum. And, or, you know, they're sitting there on the stand, you know, the guitar is hot, but it's sitting there on the stand because they're swapping out guitars. So you can leave that one gated until it's time, and then it comes to life when they strum on it.
So you're saying that, I don't know, I'm just trying to process
Uh-huh.
here. You're saying that any signal within this range is not transmitted at all?
Correct.
Okay.
That's what these red bars are, that the whole thing is arrested right
Okay,
now.
but even if it's on, that signal back here, okay.
Yep, yeah, see, right now this microphone's on, but it's not transmitting anything at all, even though we got some input signal here. So this is a pretty aggressive example right here. But as I get closer and closer and closer, it turns on. Then I back off, and it backs off again. And you can see this little blue dot there. When it's quiet, it's on the left. And as it gets a little bit closer, it'll kick past this line, and then that's where it's actually activated. So you can kind of see it as well. That's more aggressive there. See, it's not coming through at all. But if I talk louder and louder and louder, check, there it is. And then it turns off again. So,
You guys don't play with that now. I can see that look.
exactly.
As we all mess around with the board.
And so it's a good habit to get into just for training, and that way when anybody steps up to the board, they can just get into the habit every once in a while of doing it. Then it's a familiar animal, and then if something does go wrong or the board goes down or whatever, then everybody's practiced with it and they're comfortable with it, and they can futz with it. So I would suggest just about every gig, you know, just get in there, take a couple minutes, and again, find the pain, reduce the gain. What you've done is, I didn't actually make the system feed back, but when you're finding the pain, you'll find a spot where it's going to feed back, right? Mm-hmm. Now the idea is that when you start on your low end, because that's easier, you work towards your high end, and you find those little peaks. You ever heard the term max headroom before?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well that's what that is. Yeah, if you're old enough, it goes way back to an animated character on TV.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah. That's it.
Well, what that is, you run through that process as well for your monitors. Like your monitors, that's a different lesson we can do, but you set up your microphone in front of your monitor and you run through that exact same procedure. And what that does is when you've found the pain, reduce the gain, when you find all those trouble frequencies, you slot them out. Let me back up. What you'll do is you'll turn up your microphone louder till you hear a ring, right? And then you'll find where that ring is at by sweeping like we were doing. Like, where is that ring? And then you slot that out. You repeat the process. You're going to hear it ring a different frequency. Find that one, slot it out, okay? Now, if you've done all that properly, what's going to happen, once you found all those little points of pain, you bring up the fader, and it's going to ring on all frequencies at the same. You're going to hear a hum across the entire thing. Now, that is the maximum headroom that you've got. In other words, there is no more to be slotted out. That's it. That's the maximum volume range that your performer is going to have, and the maximum leash that you can give them, I suppose. There's really not much else you can do at that point. So in theory, when they all scream at the once, that's where you're at. But that's max headroom is what they call that. Let's see. Have you got a way to just play music through here?
Yes.
Let's do that real quick, and I can show you a good use of a compressor, for example.
I also have a CD that has a whole bunch of frequencies on it that's meant for that.
Because sometimes performers will show up with background music or a CD or something like that, and I never trust it because of the levels sometimes that they record at. You know, some parts are soft, some parts are loud, and boy, you can get really surprised that way.
One of our directors for our musicals always plays with a track.
Okay,
So our musicals will often have a track.
okay. Well, sometimes, especially if it's like the Nutcracker, for example, you're going to have some really highs and some real lows.
She's done the Nutcracker, and I've
Yeah,
done the Nutcracker before.
And this is one of those times where this could really come in handy because your audience isn't quite so savvy or quiet, quite honestly, to get all of that.